Hey guys, it's Lozzy Inc. Don't mind the new look. I am definitely not Tooth Fairy, and I certainly did not accidentally knock anyone out cold for 6 months.
Okay, today's comic is titled The Gods for Hire, with the story and the cover art done by Matatelo Musonda and the art done by Kachesa Hachoka. This video was a request, kind of, so don't worry, I'm finally talking about it. Let's get started. This section is gonna be short because there's only one issue out at the moment. But in the meantime,
what do you do when you lose most of your divinity? Come to the human world and are forced to live in a body that starves, gets broke, and other things.
a cool premise and a familiar setting was all I needed to get through the first issue. We don't get much in terms of story, which I'll talk about more when we get to the characters. So what actually keeps you going is the action, the little mystery, and its main character. But before we talk about characters, I need to talk about a few things that I noticed. There are 2 posts of this comic, and in the latest one, there are 2 pages missing that were in the original. So, just something that I noticed, and it was a bit confusing. We don't get the main character's name until page 21, from a character that's introduced on page 20. I get that the girl is supposed to know who he is, but it doesn't explain why he didn't bat an eye when she referred to him by name in this panel, when after this point, it's clear that he doesn't know who she is. So why doesn't he act more surprised in that panel, or at least confused? I don't know. It could be me, I could be reading it wrong. Let me know if that's the case. Did Mwansa actually notice this girl when she walked past him? Or did he just feel a disturbance in the force? Because the way it's illustrated makes it look like he did notice her and he's reacting to her, but his dialogue makes it seem like he just felt her presence. I don't know how that was supposed to be interpreted. Again, it's probably just my eyes, but it reads a bit weird. So like I said before, there are 2 versions of this comic book, and in the one I was reading, page 23 came off a bit weird in its panel flow. I thought maybe you could swap panels 2 and 3 so that we can have the girls over the top, reaction, and then we can have Mwansa's "what the fuck is this bitch saying" face after the fact. But since there is context in an earlier version with 2 pages, maybe they should be here as well. I don't know if they were left out, or maybe you just wanted to cut them down for time. And these are some things that I did like. The 11-page action sequence, that stuff was cool. Especially since all the art is done with a mouse. That is insane. Top-notch stuff, and it was just super cool to read. Pages 14, 15, and 16, the most relatable pages. That's some good stuff. And pages 25 to 27, nice. Best girl, worst girl, Akira sucks. So we're introduced to 5 characters: Mwansa, Akira, Cat Girl, Best Girl, and Sasuke. Mwansa and Akira get the most lines with their screen time. Because of this, Mwansa is kind of left on his own as a character with nothing interesting to do. And this could have become boring really fast. But this is avoided because Mwansa, he's just so fucking extra, man. Like, just look at this shit. So, at least his over-the-top protagonist behavior is interesting to watch, especially in the normal setting. As for Cat Girl and Best Girl, while they're not as interesting as Mwansa, they do move the plot along with their scenes and dialogue. If you split the comic into 3, you get Cat Girl and Best Girl at the end, Mwansa in the middle, and then Vegeta at the start. Having the girls only move the plot along, even if that's in small chunks, while Mwansa just dicks around and acts extra, is pretty helpful story progression. Now for Yuno over here. He is, after Mwansa, the most entertaining character in the comic, which I wasn't expecting, cause he only gets like 3 lines. But in spite of that, he's just as, if not more, extra than Mwansa in just 2 panels. Very impressive. I think the reason for this is because we get like 11 pages of him just kicking ass with this serious look on his face, and then he just pulls this dumb shit. And I feel like those 11 pages, maybe you could have cut them down, but as of now, they serve as anticipation for what could happen when he finally finds Mwansa, since he's also looking for him. Overall, great character. So here are some final critiques that I had, some final stuff to say. The comic overall was interesting, but the beginning and middle parts were kind of aimless. You have the 11-page action sequence. Interesting, but it doesn't give us any information about the character Guts there, or it doesn't give us any information about the plot or the setting. The same in the middle with Mwansa. He's the main character, sure, his interactions are interesting, but they don't move the story forward, especially since his character either has amnesia or is a fish out of water type character, so he doesn't really know what's going on. And the character to explain things to him, the Cat Girl, only comes in towards the end. So you have this like aimless first and middle, and then you have the end, which is kind of brushing things up. So for future reference, maybe characters should have their interactions and whatever they're doing be related to exploring characterization or exploring the plot. In conclusion, is The Gods for Hire a good read? I think yes it is, definitely. The comic has a lot of personality, in my opinion. I know that it has problems, like I mentioned before, but I feel if you're gonna tell a story, at least be either interesting, whether that's good or bad, or be good, you know what I'm saying? So at least I know the comic was interesting in a good sense, you know, it gave me a lot of high school nostalgia, I love that type of humor, and it is interesting enough to where I would like to see more. So the link is down below, go read it, and let me know what you guys think of it. You can tell me on Twitter. Anyway, that was it for today's video. Cue the outro.
Guys, you have to help me. I am not Lozzie Inc. I'm Tooth Fairy, okay? This guy is crazy.
running? Why are you running?